Good morning, everybody. My guest today is the one, the only, Camilo Rodriguez from Mortgages Lab. Brokering since 2003, 20 years in this business, an electrical engineer by trade, so one very intelligent man, but we'll come back to the electrical engineer piece a little later. Camilo, so many changes, many changes within the lending landscape through the 20 years in the business. I mean, lenders have come and gone, policies have come and gone. Boy, remember that 40-year amortization with zero down on a stated income rental? And you could have 10 of them on the application. Things have changed just a little bit. Policies obviously not being one, and regulations being a big one. And of course, rates have, well, they've changed just a little bit recently here as well. But it seems like the one thing that has been consistent, and certainly in the 12 or so years at least that I've known you, probably closer to the full 15, is your mindset. And that's what I know we're going to dig into here. But first off, thank you so much for taking the time to join us.
Dustin, always a pleasure to talk to you. You're such a leader. Thank you very much for helping all of us, improve our mindsets and grow our business.
Well, hey, mindset is everything, isn't it? We both agree on that one.
Mindset is everything.
So over the last couple of years, you've taken your team now, talking about leadership. I mean, my man, you've gone from 10 to 52 brokers on your team at this point, which is that an all-time high?
It is an all-time high, but before I was 10, I was up to 40, but I was growing without any structure. So just hiring brokers that wanted to join my team. And when I became president of the association, I was exposed to way more things, and I got scared actually, because people don't know this, but managing brokers have a huge liability with people in their teams, right? So I decided to reduce my team to about 10, and I'm an engineer by trade, so I like to build systems. I like to set up strategy, and I decided, how can I grow in a better way? And I basically created some systems, some structure, and started all over again. And now we're up to 52, and our system and structure can support a bigger team. So we're super excited.
So you've got a calmer day-to-day life with 52 than you did previously with the 40.
100%. And I can sleep. Very nicely. So it's a mindset, actually. It's a mindset. I couldn't do it anywhere else, right?
Well, and there's a couple of things that I want to dig back into that you touched on there. So one of them, thank you for the service that you provided to the association, the Canadian Mortgage Brokers Association of BC. And I guess I could throw the plug in here for our upcoming conference, May 7th and 8th and 9th, May 8th and 9th. It's coming up next week. So a number of you in BC that are watching or listening, we'll look forward to seeing you in person. That's kind of, sometimes it's a thankless job, but thank you, Camilo. Thank you for the work that you did do well there.
Likewise, now you've got the torch. Now you've got the
Well, I don't care. I don't carry quite the same responsibility I think you did as the president of the association, but I'm involved in a few different meetings, and hey, that's okay. It's always fun putting these things together and seeing them come off. So anyway, we won't diverge into the conference. It's going to be a great event. It's going to be a good time. Looking forward to that. The thing I really wanted to delve into, because I think it's very important for anyone building a team or thinking about building a team, was you mentioned not realizing just how much liability you actually had. Can you expand on that a little bit?
Well, yes. I always think of, for example, a business or even becoming a mortgage broker. It's like a team. I love soccer. So you have your offense. Maybe if you're building a team, your offense would be the number of people on your team, right? So you're trying to grow that. It's like scoring a goal. But you need to look after your defense, okay? Your defense, I mean, in any team, in any sport, if you have a weak defense, no matter how your offense is, you'll probably lose the game, okay? So first of all, you have to have a very strong defense. So in terms of defense, what are you doing in terms of structured training? What are you doing in terms of supporting the brokers, answering the questions? Anybody who's building a team, let's say you hire 3 fairly new brokers. You've got right there on average with 900 questions that you're going to have in the next 3 to 4 months. So how are you going to address those? Are you going to be available, right? So you have to think, in my opinion, there's lots of thoughts in the business world that like you just launch and then you'll figure out the stuff later. And there's a lot of value in that. But I think you have to, sometimes you have to prepare. It's better if you're going to battle, you need to prepare. You need to get in shape. You need to sharpen the saw, right?
That's
and
right. Well, yeah.
Before you get into the battle, because if you're in the battle, it's too late. You have to fight, right? So,
and understanding the lay of the land is pretty darn important. You know, there's a lot of designated individuals, a lot of managing brokers who are completely unaware. Like in BC, for instance, for first 2 years, you cannot incorporate. For the first 2 years, you must be a sub-mortgage broker. And the Employment Standards Act views a sub-mortgage broker as an employee of the brokerage, even though technically there's no other way they look like an employee. They have rights like an employee. And that alone should have made some of the hair on the back of managing brokers' necks stand up. Like, yes. Like, what does that mean exactly? Yes. And there should be a full understanding of what that means. And I think probably one of the most painful lessons some managing brokers learn is when they're allowing other people to submit files under their name. If they're not reviewing every single document, everything on that file, and vetting it thoroughly, if something goes sideways, they can wind up cut off for life with that lender, which is 100%. Pretty incredible. Like that's painful to go through.
100%. Or if you have a lawsuit, if you get into any of your agents do. So, and sometimes people do things without knowing, like they're not doing it in bad faith or anything. They just didn't know, and boom, you get yourself into a nice lawsuit, and now everything stops for you, right? Because you got scored heavily. Yeah. So you need to be prepared. You need to be ready,
and it's your E&O policy. It's your legal fees defending the suit because it's one of your agents. So the agent's your responsibility, and the bills to fix the problem are your responsibility.
100%.
And then if that agent leaves, but there was an E&O claim and the E&O premium's gone up, now you're not even earning any revenue off that agent, but you're paying a higher E&O insurance premium for years.
Yep.
So yeah, there's a lot of different things to consider. That's for sure. So all of that said, here's a question for you. Why did you commit to building a team? Why not just stick to your own production, keep it super simple? I mean, life gets more complicated the more people you add into your life. So what's your why?
Interesting question. And I actually, when I thought about it, for me, it was such an important question that I involved my wife. So my wife is not in the business. She's not a broker or anything, but she has a perspective totally different than me. And I asked her, Anna, do we want to do this? I am pretty happy just doing, my own volume. And we both decided that we wanted to do this. There's different whys why we're doing this. Number one, historically, and hopefully that is changing, but historically, mortgage brokers don't have any support. Like how did I learn? How did you learn, Dustin? We just had to figure out everything from the beginning. Like tough, it's tough. If people think right now the business is tough, well, before it was also tougher. Like one of my main lessons, I went to a managing broker, or the role of the managing broker, because I wasn't producing any sales, and I asked him for help. What should I do? And it was a 10-second conversation. He just said, "What are you talking about, Camilo? Go find clients, fund mortgages." That was it. That was it. Okay, I go, well, thank you very much. And then off I go, try to figure out how to do that, right? So
Well, the safety net, 2003 when you began, 2008 when I began, the safety net was a really, really fine mesh. Like it was really hard to slip through and fall through the safety net. If you made a mistake, there was almost always a way that you could get that file across the finish line, because so many underwriting centers, they really had the power of the pen. They could make an underwriting decision based not just on the quality of the client, they could make it based on the quality of you, the broker, the quality of your managing broker. There were a lot of different variables, intangibles, that don't fit into a GDS, TDS calculation, where they had leeway to just get something done. Like they could boil it down to the ultimate question that truly matters. Will this client ever miss a mortgage payment? And if they could, in good conscience, look at it and say, no, that's never going to happen. Let's not blow up this broker's life. Let's not blow up this managing broker's life. Let's fund this file and get it done. Like I say, the safety net, very, very fine mesh. At this point, it's one of those safety nets you can easily put a size 12 shoe through, and your whole leg is sticking out right through the bottom of the safety net, and you can go right through it, because there just isn't as much latitude and leeway. And you can hear the pain in the underwriter's voice sometimes, like,
there's nothing they can do. Yeah,
we can't fund this. Like, there's just no way we can put this mortgage on our books now that this new thing has been revealed. And it could be a very innocuous thing. Oh, it's a self-managed strata. Sorry, we can't do self-managed stratas. And again, to your point, if you're on mortgage number 3, like what does it matter whether the strata is self-managed? What's that got to do with anything? What's a rental pool? What's this? What's that? What's remaining economic life? All these things you learn over a period of files. And you mentioned to me that you figure you've got a bit of a numerical system for at what point does a broker actually know what they're doing?
I have a couple of things that I have here in my mindset. Okay, I'm trying to find here what to. Anyways, okay, and basically it's the following. There is a mindset. When one of the reasons why mortgage brokers sometimes is very difficult, it has to do with the fact that a lot of people coming into the industry come from an employment. Has nothing to do with them as an intelligent person. It has to do with a mindset shift. When you are an employee mindset, we have an employee mindset, and I learned this from that book, Rich Dad Poor Dad, the 4 quadrants. Okay, you think in a certain way. Okay, so you think as mortgage brokering as another job, and if you do that, you're asking, where are my leads? Who's gonna train me? It's all who's gonna provide for me. But in order to become a successful mortgage broker, your mindset has to shift from time-based to results-oriented. You just get paid for a result. Either you do it in 1 hour or 1 week. If it's the same result, you get paid the same dollars, right? So when people apply at Mortgages Lab, they tell me, Camilo, but I have 5 years of mortgage brokering experience, okay? That tells me right there that they have an employee mindset, okay? Because then the question is, okay, how many files have I funded? And then have you funded? And then the conversation shifts. Oh, what happened is that last year, this is what happened, or the year before, so that's why. So they go around those lines. So it's actually, in my opinion, you're a mortgage broker in training until you have funded 100 files. Once you cross that line, I would call you a senior. You already have some, deep knowledge about what you're doing, and you're moving to your next phase. Your next phase probably are your next 400 files. So when you have funded 500 or more, I would say they're an expert, right? But that's my own numeric system. Now that you mentioned that, you made me remember. Okay.
Well, I like it because I mean, I remember I started counting my files and speaking by file count to clients to
Yes.
validate myself, because I'd only been in the business 2 years, but in those first in 24 months, it was about 130 files, 140 files. So I was able to say to clients, I've done this 132 times before. That may not sound like a lot, but
It's huge. It's huge.
but actually, yeah, I mean, the median production level is about 12 files per year. That's the median for a mortgage broker. So,
Gonna take you
144 files, that's 10 years of experience, but maybe you've done that in 2 years.
2 years.
So you could be saying, lining up in front of a client and saying, I've been doing this 10 years, and someone next to you is saying they've been doing it 2 years, but the person doing it 2 years is vastly more qualified.
More
Because they've
experience.
done 144 files in the last 24 months, and you've only done 24 files in the environment of the last 24 months. So I think that's a really valuable takeaway for viewers, for listeners, is
I found,
the file count, not the years.
yeah. And I found the saying, I love sayings, the saying that relates to that is life really does begin at 40. Up until then, you are just doing research. I'm in my 50s, and I've never been so happy, so fulfilled in life. So I don't know, it's another dimension. I hear a lot of people, and I think it's a mindset. I hear a lot of people say, oh, I'm 50, I'm already too old. I go, what are you talking about? Like, you have so much wealth of experience. I'm playing tonight squash with my son who's 18, and I have a chance to beat him. Most likely not, but I have a chance. I've done it in the past, so I'm shooting for it. And this is one of the best times in my life, actually.
Yeah.
So it's all mindset. It's all how. There's another thing that I talk a lot about mindset. It's actually a coin, and I really like, because I got this coin. Well, you've been to the core, right? With Rick Rubik. I've been to a lot of this. So this was sent to me by Rick Rubik, right? And it always remind me, and actually MA also sent me a coin, if I remember correctly. So I have two of them. And it reminds me that whatever happens, you're looking at one side. You have to force yourself to look to the other side. There's always, and this is not even, it's not even something I'm making up. Look at the nature, date and night, north and south, positive, negative, male, female. Everything is kind of dual, okay? So in my life, I love mindset, because the toughest moments that I've had in my life has been the best moments that I've had in my life, because I force myself. I look at this. I don't want to say the F coin, and I go, oh, I'm in so much pain, and then I go, what is in the other side that I cannot see? And then time goes by, and I see it, and I go, oh, this has been amazing. This has been amazing, right? But you keep looking at only one side. There you go. I love it. If you keep only looking at one side, and you look at the negative side, you don't look at the positive side, is your call, right? It's your mindset, basically.
Well, that is the key. And yeah, I know you and I both sort of embrace that mindset of doing the difficult. And it's kind of, I think, how we've both lived. It's not so much about doing what's easy, it's more about doing what's necessary. And the more difficult something is, well, it's kind of like going to the gym and lifting heavy things. I mean, that's a difficult thing, but that resistance, fighting that resistance, builds strength, right?
Dustin, hopefully I am able to give some or give some impact to my kids, but I always teach them the following. Now that I see the changes that we're going through, this is amazing. And what can my 18-year-old son or 17-year-old daughter like decide to study? Like, does it really matter? Like, because things will change so fast that it's amazing. But I always tell them there's some principles that I still see very relevant today. And that is, and people get confused, and that is, if you do what is easy in life, life will become tough for you. And if you do things that are tough in life, life will become easy for you. So we all know if we go and work McDonald's flipping burgers. There's a system. They just tell you flip it this, wait this, look at the clock. You can do $15 an hour. Okay. Now you can do $500 an hour with only $1,000 and go and take your course, right? As a mortgage broker, but that doesn't mean that it's going to be easy if you don't go through the pain. And sometimes I feel the best mortgage brokers in Canada are the ones who can sustain the highest amount of pain. You've been a top producer, Dustin. Was it just, oh, I'm just here in my trousers sending files, or was it extremely painful and you become really tough at the pain part, right?
Yeah. Well, you're bang on. I mean, you learn to deal with rejection, where you don't even get the application, you don't even get a chance, you don't even get an at bat. It's like they just stay in the dugout. Don't even bother standing up. Just stay over there. So you deal with a whole bunch of rejection. Then you actually get up to the plate. I never play baseball. I don't know why I'm running with this analogy though. Then you get up to the plate and you get some crappy pitches. In fact, the pitcher hits you in the head with the ball, and you're like, what am I even doing here? This is ridiculous. But you stay there and you keep swinging and striking out and foul ball this, and the foul ball is the one that you got the application, you got the docs, you got the approval, it's instructed to the lawyers, and then in the last second, no, not funding.
Super painful, super painful.
Yeah, I mean, but I think that it's again, I don't play baseball, but I'm imagining the thing with brokering is funding a file is a lot like hitting it out of the park. And that feeling draws you back in again and forces you to keep working at getting better. And actually, baseball is a good analogy to use, because for every 4 people who say they want to talk to you about a mortgage, you're only going to build an application for 2 of them, and you're only going to fund 1 of those.
I love that.
So it's a 0.25.
Yeah.
Right. And if you have a 0.25 batting average, you're actually pretty decent.
It's pretty good.
It's not bad. I mean, you're maybe not going to be in the major leagues, but a 0.33 and you got $100 million contract. You got a $100 million business.
In fact, Dustin, I see it because some of the brokers that are applying at Mortgages Lab are brand new brokers. And I see right away why they don't stay, okay? And this is across, in my opinion, it's across Canada, because we, as you know, we already expanding to Ontario and Alberta and Newfoundland. Is this, the mortgage broking has this aura of, oh, you are like dealing with money and you have a little bit of power and, the banks and, it appeals to a lot of people, and you have flexibility of your time and everything else. But people come in with that mindset and they, boom, get on the first and second file, pain. And then they go, oh, this is not for me. And they leave really fast, okay? So people ask me, Camilo, isn't there enough mortgage brokers out there? And my question, I think we need way more mortgage brokers. We need more gladiators. A mortgage broker is a gladiator. It's like a tough guy or girl. They're the girls I call the Amazon. Like you've seen the Amazon girl, this really powerful lady. I love that. My wife for me is like an Amazon. But you need these powerful guys and girls, right, who can go and battle and sustain the pain. And coming back to my question, do we have enough brokers? Count how many brokers have more than, and we're not say 10 years of experience, we're going to say 500 files of experience. Count them.
Yeah, it's not a lot.
Do we have enough? We don't have enough. We do have a lot of first year, right, doing less than 50 files in their career, trying to learn the business. We do have quite a number of those. And I hope that through Mortgages Lab and other companies that really want to support their agents and brokers, they can go through the 100. For me, 100 file mark, it's a milestone. Oh, these guys is graduated.
That's right. Yeah, you know what? It's almost like there should be a certificate for that. Although I'm still hung up on the visual of Camilo the gladiator returning home to his Amazon wife, and now I'm picturing that you're raising Spartan warrior children You know, it's as I say, it's all about the mindset, though, isn't it? It's fantastic.
But we need more mortgage brokers. I know a person who has done 500 files or even over 100 files. Do they fear the bank or a bank rep? You know, I've done more than 500 files in my career. I don't fear them at all. I actually like. I don't fear RBC. I don't fear a lot of things because you've gone through that pain and you know what's going on. You have a deep knowledge.
Yeah.
And perhaps at the end, I like to talk to you about a formula that I'm an electrical engineer, so I love formulas. So I'll tell you a formula that I think a lot of people on this call could use, and it will tell you where they need to improve in their business to be a successful mortgage broker, a gladiator. I like that word.
Well, let's do that. Let's actually wrap up with the formula. But before we do that, you know, the question that it may feel to some like I wandered away from really digging into the answer on was what's your why? But actually, I think the last 10 minutes of conversation have really expanded on what's your why. And your why, I mean, you're sitting there in a lab coat with the signed Mortgages Lab behind you. And I think as much as you enjoy the mortgage brokering business and interacting with clients, I think a huge part of what's really going on in the laboratory is growing brokers. And I think that's what may interest you more than funding files, is helping new people come into this industry, hit their 100th file, hit their 500th file, and helping them grow through structure, systems, processes, and that mindset. I think we got a really, really elaborate answer and an excellent one at that. So thank you.
You're very good at reading people, Dustin. That's my why. And people need to understand that human beings were complex individuals. Because I like to give a lot, and I get sometimes hit from my wife because, Camilo, you're giving too much. But I have mindset like life is a mirror. What you project, you receive. Okay, and I've received a lot, so I'm very thankful. But also, I was going to say something else about the mindset, but I lost my train of thought. Anyways, it'll come back in a second. But yeah, you have to give. But there's also selfish reasons. So I want to tell everybody my selfish reasons on why I'm doing this, because everybody goes, "Oh, this guy, yeah, but he's gotta have some selfish reasons." Yeah, I do, and that is the following. The main reason why I keep getting better, even at mortgage brokering, is because I attempt to share and to teach. The person who's teaching becomes better at what they do.
Oh, yeah.
So guys, everybody on this call, if I know in our industry, we all me, and we all want to be individual, and because of the awards, everybody, and that's another mindset that I have to change. But everybody wants to do their own thing. But the more you share, you help others, you become better because you're forced to rethink. You see it from the other person's point of view, and you become better. I've learned. I'm so thankful for the people in my team because they teach me so much. They come here for lessons, and I try to give them as much as I can, but I learn so much from them, and I'm growing as a person, as a human being, because of that interaction and that effort I'm trying to put. Everybody that is here that's a managing broker, you guys will understand me, how hard it is to build a team. Oh my goodness, it's tough. It's tough, the amount of things that you need to do. Plus, if you're doing any type of volume, it becomes madness, right? So, but going through that struggle, it makes your skin thicker, and it brings you up as a person, as a human being. You become more empathetic. You become, I don't know. That's my selfish reasons as well.
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head with the comment about how the best way to learn is to teach. Because when you take a piece of your process and you say it, you speak out loud to someone else, here's how I do it, you might suddenly start to question different aspects. You might, when you hear it out loud, you might think,
wow,
right? And I'm not going to go into detail, but there was an aspect of my own process that, yes, it worked for me. For someone who had lived in the same community for 35 years, who was getting warm referrals of people that were sort of one or two steps outside my direct social circle, like everybody kind of knew everyone. There was like a 3 degrees of separation max type thing. And so there was a process step that was missing. Because if I'd said to just anyone, you should do it this way, that would have opened them up to all kinds of risk that I was largely insulated from just because of the nature of the environment I was working in. So I didn't really know any better. I didn't realize the risk that actually existed there. And
Yep.
as I say, I won't go much further than that, but suffice it to say that yes, indeed, I agree with you. The best way to learn is to share your processes with others and to go into the Facebook groups and answer the questions.
Yep.
You know, you see that question, try and answer it yourself. And you start realizing it's actually kind of difficult to articulate the answer to this question in the comment section.
It's very difficult because you lack a lot of context. I see a lot of the questions that the answers are well intended, but you cannot answer a question like that. You cannot. Sometimes you need to the context. You and I know that if you ask another question to that client, it will bring the solution that is totally unrelated to the question that they're posting on the on the group, right? So you need to ask other questions and see it from other angles. But anyways, that's another. So it's tough to answer those questions as well.
Well, share with us the formula. So
Oh,
you have a formula that predicts how successful a mortgage broker will be.
yes, and I have to say that this formula I learned it from experience. So every single part of that formula has been a failure in my career that I had to overcome. Okay, so the formula I go to be a successful mortgage broker equals, first of all, marketing. I call it, well, everything mortgage lab is a lab, so it's marketing lab. Marketing lab is how many interactions one-on-one are you having per day talking about your subject matter, which is mortgages.
Yep.
How many interactions you have every day? So you have to track that. One, is it one a day? Is it zero? Is it one every week? Is it 10 interactions, either face-to-face or it cannot be, I posted on Facebook one post. No, it's got to be one-on-one with a person who knows that you're going to be talking mortgages and you have a meaningful conversation with them. Okay, so that's marketing, which is outbound, going to the market. Okay, so it's marketing lab times sales lab. What is sales? Sales mean when you get that text or that phone call, or somebody says, I've got a question or a mortgage need, how skillful you are in converting that person into a client. Okay, so that happened many years in the past. I remember in December, I started, I think it was 18 applications. And I go, this is going to be the best month of my career. And this was in December. And I funded 2 out of the 18. And then I go, I was devastated. What did I do wrong? So it made me reflect, and I remember, and I right now know that my sales process, I wasn't adding value. I was an order taker. I wasn't adding value to the client. I wasn't asking the right questions. So sales lab is all about conversion. What we in digital marketing, you call conversion. So how good you are at adding massive amount of value to that relationship or client in any way you can. So that person goes, oh, I want to deal with Camilo. Oh, I want to deal with Dustin. I don't want to go to my bank. I don't want to deal with any other broker. I want to deal with this guy. Okay, so how good you are at that? So that's marketing lab, which is outbound, sales lab, which is conversion, times technical lab. Technical lab is how well you know your trade. Do you know what is an A deal versus a B deal versus a MIC or a private? Okay, are you trying to put a B deal into an A? Right? Or do you know your lenders? Have you read the underwriting guidelines? Do you know what exceptions you can do? Have you studied that? Do you spend half an hour every day reading? And again, in those Facebook forums, I see questions that shouldn't be posted there, because if you are a broker, you should do your research before you post a question, right? But everybody wants the shortcut, which is not a bad thing, but you need to learn your trade. I mean, would a surgeon go and say, hey, does anybody know what is all positive on on the blood. No, well, they don't talk at that level, right? We cannot be talking about things like that. We have to raise the level. So that's how good you are technically at your trade. So again, marketing lab times sales lab times technical lab. If you have mastered those three things, you are already pretty good. But you're missing one thing. I divide that by mindset lab. Okay. I've seen brokers who are very good at everything, and I cannot and their mindset is not in the right place. Today, I've had brokers say, Camilo, I am a new broker, and I've been told by other brokers, don't expect to close any business in your first 8 months. And I go, oh my goodness. And I said, I apologize in the name of the industry. I really apologize. I said, because I can show you a brand new broker at Mortgages Lab that on the first month funded 1.5.
Yep.
So if a person believes, and everybody who's on this call, please read that book that Dustin posted at the beginning. If you believe that you're not going to fund a mortgage in 8 months, there's nothing Mortgages Lab or Camilo can do for you in order to expedite that process, because you already know that you will not fund a file in 8 months.
You hit the nail on the head. I mean, I heard the same thing when I joined the industry. I had people saying, don't expect to make any money for a year. I said, I expect to make money this month. And what happened? I caught a file that very first month. And people can say, oh yeah, well, but nothing. I mean, I came out of the automotive parts industry. I had zero finance, zero real estate experience. And 2 weeks into the role, I got a call from somebody in my social circle saying, hey, are you licensed? I said, yeah, I am. I just bought a place. I need your help.
100%. Now, that doesn't mean that there won't be a struggle. Yeah, there will be a struggle. But if you use my formula, so very simple. Even today, if you have a person who's not producing, okay, or who has a very they need more leads, right? And they use the marketing lab, so they track and they have contacted, let's say, 5 people a day.
Yeah.
I cannot guarantee anything because maybe the sales part is not there done yet, but we can give you a little bit of tips so they can add value fast. I cannot guarantee, but the probability that that person will not fund a mortgage if they have 5 meaningful conversations every day or 3, those are 15 in a week. In 4 weeks, it's 60. The probability that they will not start an application are really low.
Well, Camilo, the individual that was my very first client, ran a business that I made a point of dropping in on. There's half a dozen people there, all earning well, all in sales. And I would ask them questions about their business, their day, how things were going in their world. And they were all interested in the broker space as commissioned salespeople themselves. It was an area that interested them. So I was kind of testing the waters for them. I was going ahead. Like they were like, you go out onto that frozen lake and let us know if the ice is going to support you or not. And so I'd been having those conversations, and that's how that one came about. Like I say, guys, you're not secret agents, you're mortgage agents. And way too many people keep it a secret, don't they?
They keep it a secret. And what happens, I've seen problems right now that we didn't have, maybe you and I, Dustin, maybe I didn't have when I started. And I see those are real problems. Right now, a broker who comes to the industry, or even a newer broker, they have, in order, before they talk to a person, they have to have a TikTok strategy, a Facebook account, a page, a website, V-card, CRM. They have to have everything like set up, right?
A LinkedIn profile with a headshot. a professional
People work
headshot.
out.
Hello, come on.
Yes, I have to buy other shirts. I have to do all this. And I see people spend 2 or 3 months getting set up when they need to do is talk to one person. When I, Camilo, after 20 years of experience, need business for myself, I go and talk to somebody.
Yeah.
But and the social media is very good to maintain a cohesive presence, but you need to talk to, you need to add value to one person. You need to help one person. That's all you need to do. So they get too confused because there's overwhelming too much information. There's too much, and then they get into the analysis paralysis thing, which I've been there as well. When you have too much information, if you show a client 10 options, you lose the client. Too many.
Well, you know, let's use your surgeon analogy. So if a mortgage broker was a surgeon, some would be successful, others would not, because some would insist on reading every possible medical journal there is so that they would know how to perform every possible kind of surgery from the tip of the head to the tip of the toe, because they don't know exactly what type of surgery is going to come through the door, and they feel like they got to be ready for every single type. And that just isn't realistic. All you really need to know is that you've got a good lead broker who understands the different courses for the different courses, who can help point you in the right direction. This is the type of lender we're going to go to for this sort of operation. This is the type of lender we're going to go. That is an operation we can't even perform. You know, having someone helping you with that, because some people, to your point, they spend months and months, a year, immersing themselves in trying to learn how to do the job without ever having a live patient on the table, without ever actually getting an application. And it may sound backwards to certain folks in particular who feel like they need to understand every nuance, but you're a lot better off getting that client in your hands and saying, I am part of a team, and collectively our team has funded 32,000 mortgages. And we got you. We've got you. I'm the face and the voice that's going to help you through this process, but I got a whole team behind me, and we're going to get you across the finish line. Like, there's a different ways to present that, isn't there?
And I am that guy, Dustin. One of the things in my mindset that I had to change is, as an electrical engineer, I wanted to know everything before I started. So my start 20 years was very slow, because, and now I'm trying to tell people or help people say, don't do what I did, because it's going to take you too long. And everything comes down to the way you and I and everybody on this call learns. Okay, so I'm going to do the analogy of a learning how to bike or ride your bicycle. Okay, you can do the following: you can get a mentor, and then you see the mentor riding the bike. You can read about bikes. You can watch all the YouTube videos on how to ride a bike and how not to fall, how not to do this, how not to do that.
You can take the bike apart, put the bike back together.
Take apart to understand what is the mechanics, right? How do the gears work? Is it an electric bike? Is it, what is the maximum speed that you should go? All that are valid questions. But if you really want to ride a bike, while I'm doing that research, because I am that type of person, I know my neighbor jumped into the bike, fell off, and in 10 seconds, he's already like riding the bike. And I go, oh, how did he do? But doesn't he know how to fall?
Yeah.
It's in the mortgage business, that has been a constant. The ones who can learn faster are the ones who are doing applications and going through the pain of all the things that they need to go through to the other side. So I would say just take Advil every day. Not the pill, but take an Advil, which is maybe your symbolistic thing of the coin or something, so you can go through that pain and learn. Right? So it's just a mindset. It's a mindset. Become really tough at mindset.
Yeah, there's a balance there, right? There's a balance between knowing every single thing there is to know about mortgages and knowing nothing about mortgages and moving forward. There's a balance. I mean, you can be a little closer to the nothing than to the everything and be successful, because you will move a lot closer to knowing everything with each passing file. Like you learn by doing. That's the bottom line.
And actually, I would say, in my opinion, and again, this is my humble opinion, going back to the bicycle ride, if you learn how to ride a bike, and after you know how to maintain your equilibrium, you start going back and maybe looking at video posts and looking at expert how to fall, that knowledge will really sink into you because you already have the experience of doing it. The best way a human being learns is through experience. And this is my own life. When I came to Canada, I wanted to do an MBA because I wanted to have a business. Okay, and I go, well, if you have an MBA, I'm going to have all the tools to do. And I was very close to start with SFU, my MBA program. And then I read a statistic before signing up, like a couple of days before. And the statistic said, I don't know if it's right now the same, but at that time, 20 years ago, it said the following. Only 3% of MBA graduates go and start their own business.
Wow.
Only 3% of MBA graduates. Okay. So I go, no, but I'm doing this because I want to start a business. And that's when that was the first time that I understood. And then I went and I looked at the following. In Colombia, I looked who was wealthy and had a business. This guy, does he have an MBA? No. Does he have a business degree? No, he just started. I went here into Canada. I don't know, Jim Pattison, does he have a business degree from Harvard? I don't know, maybe not. And I looked at people in the US. I knew some people in Mexico. I knew some people in Colombia. No, what did they do? They started, and I know today that they had to go through big amount of pain. It's not glossy. It's not. Look at Elon Musk. They ask him, "Oh, you are this guy who's funded 3 companies and like worldwide companies, and they're transforming the world. So how do you encourage people to become business owners, entrepreneurs like you?" And he said, "I don't know if I want to tell people to do this because this is so painful."
Mm-hmm.
People don't understand how painful it is. His pain tolerance is way above anybody else on this earth. He's been three times close to bankruptcy, like days to bankruptcy, after having millions of dollars in their bank account. That's got to sting a little bit.
No kidding. Yeah. I mean, talk about a roller coaster ride, but your point is bang on. Just start and be prepared to endure a little pain. And I think that's a great spot to just stop, because we were targeting 30 minutes, and man, it was a great conversation. And 3% of MBAs start their own company. That's an interesting stat. And 20 years ago, I don't know. I bet you it holds true to this day. Wouldn't surprise me.
We'll have to look at that one as well.
Camilo, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. I'm going to stick around and do one quick second segment on the CMHC latest housing market outlook. Camilo, any last words to wrap it up?
I want to thank you for everything, guys. Become really gladiators, mindset, and update your software. We all have the same capacity in our brains, but the software is different. So upgrade your software always. Look, and that little book has helped me improve my mindset. Because of that book, I was able to expand from BC to Alberta and Ontario and other provinces. Just because I read that book, and I truly believe what they say is truth. So read that book and improve your mindset, and let's keep going.
For those of you listening to wondering which book, The Law of Resonance. That is the name of the book, The Law of Resonance. Thanks again, Camilo.
Thank you.
Speak again soon.
You betcha.
Take care.